What's up, guys? Scotty here with Xball for Soup, and I'm glad to be throwing it back to that classic life story content. I know some of you out there may have a YouTuber who you were interested in, and they stopped doing that one thing that put them on the map. I don't want to be that guy, so we're throwing it back to that classic life story content. The story picks up about 2 years after my teammate stole my paintball gun. And what ended up happening to the team that I played on, my very first tournament team, is we got cherry-picked. Bigger, more established lines that were playing bigger, better tournaments nationally versus locally. They slowly siphoned off our talent. And at one point, we just didn't have enough bodies to keep it going. We folded. Enter in Ralph. Now, Ralph is a pseudonym. That's not exactly his name, but Ralph was there to offer me a spot on his team immediately after my team folded. And he was also always really positive towards me as a player because we're both back players. And sometimes he would pull me aside and be like, yo, Scotty, you shot somebody on your slide. That's insane. Or, dude, your field sense is amazing. And so when he offered me this spot, it was like, yeah, he's always been cool. And I was looking for a team and I didn't want to be teamless for too long. So I signed myself up, new team, based out of Southern. He was really putting in a lot of effort to help me get to the field. And I respected him. He was like having a big brother in paintball, but we still had a similar skill level. We played similar positions, and he was a homie. We liked the same music, dude. We'd blast metalcore classics. Even if Ralph wasn't the best player on the field, he was a team player at this point. He would always put extra effort in to make sure the people around him were playing good paintball. Like, yo, dude, you need an extra bag of paint? I got you. Yo, dude, your gun is broken for this event? Borrow my brand new DM for this year. Just take it, dude. I'm not even going to the event, but I trust you. And this is where Ralph took his heel turn. A heel turn is like, you're a good guy, and then you're just going way off the rails and you're now a villain. So Ralph's villain arc, it started by him just trusting the wrong person. He trusted a very well-established player on our sister team. You're supposed to trust that guy. You're in the same camp. You're in the same program. And this ended up being heartbreaking for Ralph because he's not a rich dude. He can't necessarily afford to have one of his markers go missing. And that's exactly what happened. The team that I played on with Ralph was a local shitter team. We were playing local 3-mans, local 5-mans, but nothing big like an NXL. So when the time NXL Chicago rolled around, we made the decision not to enter it because we're getting our ass kicked at local 3-mans. Why are we going to play D4X and just fucking lose? So we decided to sit out. But our sister team, who had the same field sponsorship as we did, they decided to play D3 Xball. And one of their guys was having issues with his marker. So Ralph, being a good dude, he's always trying to help. He's always trying to be like, yo, man, I got you. So Ralph loans out his brand new die matrix to Chad to use for one event. And we didn't go to the event at NXL Chicago. So Chad is out there on his own with Ralph's gun. Now, what Chad ends up telling everybody was he left it out in the pit after a game. He was getting food, getting water, going to the bathroom. The marker was out in its case, and that marker just got swiped from their pit. Somebody ran in, ran out, no evidence, no leads, nothing. I know it sounds a little cavernous in that last audio take, and that's because the house that I was recording it in was large and very empty. So that's a little echoey. I apologize for that. But back to the story, man. It just feels that paintball in this era was so fucking scammy. Like from 2005 to maybe 2013, I would say that's like the wild west of paintball scams. And even between this story and the big life story, my teammate stealing my guns, I was even scammed one additional time over an Angel Fly, beautiful fucking gun. And that one's wild too. We ended up getting some kid deported. So Ralph loans his gun to Chad. Chad plays the event with the gun, fucking sells it. Like, imagine your own sister team doing you that dirty. Like, yo, shitter, I'm not only going to borrow your gun, I'm going to fucking sell it at the end of the event. Allegedly. This one's got a big allegedly there. I don't want really people to be identified. One of the reasons why I'm telling the story is because of the scammy days of the past. It shaped me to be Xball for Soup. Like, who else is doing scam awareness? There's not a whole lot of people out there exposing scams, talking about ways to get scammed. Like, this is something that paintball needs, and it really should be in the limelight, because one scammy experience could force a player to give up on paintball forever, and that's going to destroy the sport. So I love using the platform to spread awareness about paintball scams. I'm not doing it for clout. I'm doing it to end the scams. So if there's ever a seller you have questions about, if there's ever a business, if you want to ask me, hey man, do they have a good reputation or not, hit me up on Instagram. I know the DMs are really crazy now because I'm always breaking paintball news. Definitely follow me on Instagram. If you only know me here on YouTube, there's a lot of things I'm doing on Instagram, and that's a lot of fun too. So definitely give me a follow there. But if you have a question about a scam, hey, hit me up. It might take a day or two for me to get back to you, but I will always respond to those. So let me know. Now, here's where shit gets wild. Ralph didn't really take any time off of paintball. He managed to get himself into a better marker than the marker that got scammed. And he really didn't have the money to come up with this. So it's like, where the hell did this gun come from? So I kind of kicked the tires on it as we're driving back from practice in his shitbox. And I'm like, yo, dude, I know you're not making a ton of money, and I thought that this would be game over for you. Where did this new Lux come from? And he answers me, a ream of paper. Like, what do you mean a ream of paper? He's like, yeah, just sent him a ream of paper and he sent me a Lux. I'm like, you scammed it, Ralph? You scammed it? He's like, for one, I got scammed and the police didn't do shit. Nobody gave a fuck about me getting scammed. So I decided to dip my toes in the scammy water and get myself back in the game. So he had to resort to some pretty nefarious means in order to keep his career going. So the scam broke down like this. Ralph found a person on either PB Nation or Facebook who was looking to do a part swap on their Lux. Ralph pretended that he owned the Lux that was exactly what this victim would want. But he told the victim that he had to ship first, and he had to ship the Lux to Ralph, and Ralph would do the part swap. We're talking barrels, back caps, frames, eye covers, ASAs. So a full part swap that would involve having him ship first. But Ralph never had the Lux. He was just making up that he had it to convince a victim to send first, and he would keep that marker. And what he did was just diabolical, and it involves paper. He would weigh the amount of paper that would exactly match the weight of a Lux in its case and ship that paper back to the victim. And when the victim would open up the box and confront Ralph, Ralph would say, dude, I shipped a Lux. What are you talking about? Ralph was deferring the blame and said somewhere in transit, somebody opened up the box, took out the Lux, and replaced it with paper. This was bullshit. It was a scam, but that's how Ralph got his Lux. And he felt that because this other guy who scammed him, nothing bad happened, he could start scamming too. So he scammed his way back into paintball. And this guy is confessing this to me as we're driving around his shitbox car after practice in rural Southern, and I have no idea what to do. You guys are going to be surprised to hear that absolutely nothing bad came his way. While I believe the account that did it did get banned from the service that it was using, whether that be Facebook or PB Nation or whatever, yeah, he got kicked out of some groups, he got kicked off PBN, but there was never any real threat from law enforcement, which is kind of wild, man. A Lux is over $1,000. But hey, man, the statute of limitations on this is long past, so I'm able to allegedly talk about what happened. Now, I knew that my teammate was a scumbag because he kept showing up with different guns. It wasn't just one Lux. I think I saw like 2 or 3. So this dude was really in the fucking game, making dirty ass plays for himself. So I ended up playing on 3 teams in my high school career, and this was team 2 of 3. It wasn't very long. So immediately after I recognized that he wasn't the good dude who I thought he was, I hopped to another team, ended up playing his team in an event and beating them, but both of us got sent home in the prelims. 2 years before this story happened, I had a teammate who set me up for a scam. And it took a lot of explaining and whining to let my parents allow me to stay in paintball after getting brutally scammed like that. So if I were to tell my dad that this guy who's been pivotal in keeping me involved in the game, my teammate and my friend, has committed a scam, he would not only not allow me to play paintball because everybody's a scumbag, he would call the cops, and this would be just a mess where I have somebody who confessed to me something, and now I tell my dad and I can't play paintball and I got to deal with the police. So at that point in time, I decided to keep it internal, not tell a soul, not even tell the homies, not my dad, not a moderator on PB Nation. What's up, Mod John? I just didn't tell anybody that this shit occurred. If you guys made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you so much. You are the realest ones. Definitely want to keep up the paintball life story content. I got a couple in the oven from college. So we're going to get into the college era, talk about some crazy shit that happened there. There's a pro player who was in a frat. Like, I had a crazy story about him that I've kind of been saving, waiting for him to retire. No, it's not Chad Yaya. All right, guys, I'm going to end the video by asking you to go down into the comments and let me know what you would do if you were in my situation. Would you call the cops? Would you tell somebody on PBN or a moderator on a Facebook group? Or would you just keep this shit to yourself and keep it moving to a different team? I really don't know if I did the right thing because Ralph probably got multiple victims. I would say it's more likely he did than he didn't because he got away with the first one and I saw him with different markers that he probably couldn't afford. So I don't know, man. This was definitely a moral dilemma for me as a kid. Looking back on it as an adult, yeah, I probably should have told somebody. But I don't know, dudes. Go down in the comments. Let me know what you would do. I was probably 16 in the story for reference.